welcome everybody! This is your host, Learbach, and you are just in time for a special Bionicle LEGO MOC showcase. In this episode, we're going to be looking over the 6 Matoran that I've created. We're doing 6 of them in this episode because there's 3 different designs between them, and they're not too overly complicated. So we're going to go over each one quickly. So we have Skell, the Scout, Fraxen, or Frax, the Guardian, Galla, the Miner, Yue, the Adventurer, Mao, the Best Friend, the Second Adventurer, should have come with better titles, and Alfor, the Centurion. Each of these are fairly unique to what they are. Real quick, before we go on, I do want to go and mention these two, Galla and Yue, are both female Matoran, yet no one here hails from Gakoro. Just wanted to point that out. I don't really follow the convention of all girl, all boy areas in the Bionicle universe. So yeah, just kind of keep that. Don't worry about the logistics of that. And if you are that hung up on it, they're biomechanical beings that are made mostly of machines, so they technically don't have gender, which makes things even more complicated. So, anyway, let's move on, shall we? We're going to look at, real quickly, we'll move everyone out of the way except for the first 2. Get Skell out of the way there. We're going to look at Yue over here. She was the first one I built. And Mao, who was the second one I built. These are the simplest ones to rebuild yourself if you would like to, because they simply require a Bionicle G2 head or similar compatibility head, and similar mass compatible to whatever head you use. And then they use the Og Matoran body that you can get from the Fantoka sets, and then the standard CCBS limbs for the arms and legs. We use the second smallest ones for the upper arms and the lower legs. These are the ones that have just a single ball joint on them and no pegs, no pinholes. For the upper leg, we use the same kind of leg, but the one with the little forward bend instead of the rounded peg holes. And then for the rest of the arm, you use the second smallest limb. Now that I think about it, there's actually a smaller limb, which is actually on Yue's tail that actually makes up for a tail. And then of course, you can use the traditional connector, which is what I use for their hands, or you can use the newer hands. Doesn't really matter. So yeah, you may notice, as I mentioned, Yue has a tail, and if you take off the backpack, you can show off her tail. Does not stand very well. It's not the ball joint, it's the, let me use, if I can grab it out of my bin here real quick, one of these pieces to stick it in and connect her tail. So yeah. Why give her a tail? Because I wanted to give her a tail. Well, I shouldn't have to have a reason to give someone a tail. A nice little decoration to have for her. As for other details, I should probably go over the backpack here. This is a simple modification. So originally when I did Onua, as you can look back at Onua, I mentioned how I wanted to do a kind of like energy beam thing with his chest piece but I could never really figure it out. This is kind of a second attempt at repurposing that energy beam thing. The real reason I wanted to do kind of like a transformation gimmick, and in this case, it gives UA a jump pack, which helps her out a lot because, as you can tell from her colors, minus the head and the arm, which we'll get into that in a second, she hails from Lekoro, which means being able to jump around and fly is really helpful. And while the jump pack doesn't give her a flight, it does give her a mid-air jump, or a double jump, if you will. That needs to be charged once she lands back on the ground. So yeah. So that's the backpack for her. The way it works is when she's in the air, it just pops open, bursts of energy launches her up, and then when she lands, it closes and recharges almost instantaneously. Almost instantly. So yeah. As for the tool on the side here, this is a simple. I think, if I remember correctly, it's a reed harvester used for harvesting bamboo or something in MOC 2. But this one's been repurposed to harvesting leaves. UA, before she became an adventurer, was a Lekoran leaf collector. She collected various leaves to help build the huts, and leaves, sticks, and whatever she could find to help build huts. She didn't build them so much as she collected the materials, which kind of led her to being very resourceful and wanting to go out adventuring. When she's not using it, she's to the side, like so. When she's traveling, she has her trusty spear. Just a spear. These aren't the Toa. They're not too hatefully special, unfortunately. So yeah. So now we get to the part that actually is a little special about her. Is the blue, crystal blue arm. She had lost her arm in an accident, and the Gagakoran tribes and the Gagakoran tribe nearby managed to restore her arm using crystallized water. It's kind of like as a prosthetic arm, similar to how Kopaka and Tahu have their crystallized arms. It's not really, it doesn't give her any magic powers. It just basically lets her have an arm. It's either that or she doesn't have the arm. So yeah, that was around the time she wanted to become an adventurer. As for the mask, this is just the Guardian mask. What they use in G2 for the little guys. It's blue because I figured. Well, it's blue because it's the one I have, and it is the most feminine mask I have. And to me, it looks feminine. I know for others it might be different, but it looks to me. And ironically, the other female character also has a blue mask, translucent blue mask for that matter too. So, just paying homage to the fact that blue, yeah, giving into the stereotypes of blue, a blue being women. Whoops, unintended, but it's fine. You gotta have some way of identifying gender for these genderless toys anyway. So yeah. That's UA. Here's Mao. Same construction. We're not really going to go over. Slightly different for the chest. You can get a different armor piece on. Wields double modified Kholi stick. Turned into blades. And on his back, he has the same backpack technology. In this case, he has a shoulder-mounted beam rifle. Fairly powerful, but really not useful. Not useful against stronger enemies, but able to stun most weaker enemies, and at the very least distract stronger enemies. Yeah. So this one, Mao, hails from Takoro, in the red and yellow. Would use red on the shoulders, but then again I had to work with what colors I had. Yeah. Not much to say, not much else to say about him construction-wise, or really even that much character-wise. He's friends with UA, best friend, and they travel together. So yeah. So we're going to move these two out of the way, and we're going to bring in, I guess we could bring in all three of these, Galla, Frax, and Skell. The reason we're bringing all three of them in is because they use the same, or most of the same design. This is the same limb system for the others. Exact same limbs, actually, even down to the same kind of pieces. But what's different, if I can find one, here we go, is that they use these Robo Rider bodies. That was really small. Okay, that was really small from that far away. But yeah, you use the Robo Rider body to make up the bulk of the body. And you can see here we have a, I believe it's 5-link peg. And if I bring up Frax here, we have the same ball joint system I used for the Toa. For the same reason, it's the exact same reason I use. The regular ball joints fall out, so the ones with the holes, amazingly enough, stay in. It's hard to explain how that works. It just does. But yeah. So inner construction. So construction, then go ahead and pop their heads off. For all, well, two of them anyway, they use the Toa Mata head and the ball joint modification for it. For Galla, she used the Toa Metru head. Partly because I ran out of head here. I ran out of Mata heads, and I do want to actually vary them up a little bit. Real quick, going through the construction here. Very simple pass-through joint here for the armor. Axle with a stop. Used a Borak arm shell claw for the back. I think I used for all three of them. And then as far as the construction goes for this, similar to the Toas, we used a pass-through axle with stop, pass-through ball joint, a little spacer piece, and just lock the connector in place. Now with the Robo Rider body, because they use round peg pinholes the whole way through, I did have to add a little bit of extra stability there to keep it from flopping around. Keep the head from being dislodged and the arms from flopping around. So yeah. So we'll go ahead and get his staff out real quick. So while we're looking at the one in front of us, this is Frax, or Fraxen, if you're not his friend. And he is a guardian. He guards a specific spot of Matoran I, the island. I couldn't remember what it was. I can't remember what it was that he guarded. I want to say it was a special chamber for something. I can't remember off the top of my head. I came up with the idea like yesterday, and I've already forgotten. Like I had the idea of him being a guardian because he had silver armor, but now I can't remember what it was he was guarding. But yeah, he's a protector. He's not one of the main characters. He's just kind of like, initially he's not one of the main characters. But he starts off somewhat antagonistic, but then kind of becomes friendly later on. I should go over the shield a bit here. So the shield is one of my recent designs. This takes a few, whatever these pieces are. I can't remember the Technic, not lift arm, panels. There we go. Technic panel pieces. Combines them up, and then if I can get this back in, oh boy, there we go. Combines them up, and then uses these like these 3 links lift arms, kind of fill in the gap. Took a lot longer to build than I am proud of, than I intended, primarily because of the middle part there. But yeah. So yeah, Fraxen Guardian. And then we have Skell, the Scout. He is, as his name suggests, a Scout. I should go ahead and mention both these two come from Kokoro, technically. Frax, technically unaligned, but he does come from Kokoro originally. Skell, Kokoro, as you can tell from the color. He's a scout. He goes out tracking. Pretty much that's what he does. He uses his disc launcher and his mass X-ray vision to allow him to spot things from afar and pin them off from a distance. He basically is one of the protectors of Kokoro. But that said, he is prepared for close range combat with a big spiked club that he is not afraid to use if things come down to it. He's not great with it, but he is more than capable of fending off a Furahi if they come after him. So yeah. As for I'm trying to think of anything else I can. I think I got everything done. Yeah, I think I got everything with him. Basic construction, same head as Frax. I should probably go over his weapon here because this is not a normal disc launcher that the Matoran had. This is a Baki disc launcher. I got the wrong one. I ordered the wrong piece and didn't realize it until it came in the mail. And I was like, these were a lot longer than I remembered. I looked in the order slip. It said it was the one for the Baki, and I'm like, oh, that's why. So yeah. So I made a few modifications to it. Added a few pieces to give it some length. Not give it some length, but kind of allow him to actually wield it on his hand more properly without making it feel too long, I should say. And I think it turned out pretty good. A very simple design, very easy to replicate. You could easily swap this 3-length lift arm with a ball joint in it for a standard 3-length lift arm and save yourself some trouble. That was a test in the feature there. But yeah. One thing real quick, this isn't anything to do with anything, but fun fact, I got this from Hawaii. I wasn't at Hawaii, I ordered from a store, from one of the Bricklink stores in Hawaii. I don't know why I feel like saying that, I kind of feel proud that I ordered from Hawaii. Don't know why. But yeah, so we'll move him aside, and here is Galla, the miner. The least developed character I have so far, partly because I literally made her maybe about an hour ago. I finally had all the parts come in and I finished her up. Actually, her original body was this, but I switched her out for the purple one, as you can see once I move my hand. There you go. As you can sort of see in there. Let me get the armor off here. There you go. Uses a Metru head and the translucent blue mask. so you know she's a girl. Yeah, so she's a miner, hence the mining laser here. That is exactly what it is. It's not a, yes, a miner. Mining laser. Yeah. Again, gotta work with what you have. I have a Paraka weapon. I've been wanting to use one of these figures. I'm like, what can I use for this? I don't want to create another fighter because I've already got 4 of them technically. 5 of them technically. I know, let's just make it into a mining laser. Yeah, I know, I mean, at least it makes sense because it's got a pickaxe on the end so she can flip it around and use it as a pick. Makes sense, right? So yeah, you can just pop it over and there we go, we got a pickaxe. Bop, 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 bop. And, for when she needs to really get into stuff that the mining laser can't dig. Yeah. On the back she has a Robo Rider disc launcher. It wasn't Robo Rider, was it? Throwbot. No, what? Yeah, yes. Robo Riders for this. Throwbots were the bodies these had. I'm still mixing up my lore. Okay, I'm still mixing up my Lego history here. But yeah, Galla, again, the same construction as everyone else. You can kind of see how she's done up here. Has a little bit of shoulder armor here. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep that. I'm probably not. Yeah, let's move on because we don't have much to say about Galla. Gave her the disc here because I wanted to give a character a disc, like one of these battle wheel discs, but I've never really figured out a good way of implementing it. Originally you're going to use Skell's launcher for it. It does fit, not well. It fits very loosely, but it does work. So I mean, I guess I could give it to Skell, give him extra ammo. But I kind of like her having it on her back. Like maybe it's like a little special defense thing, or a special item that she can activate on her back, like a backpack sort of thing. Plus this one's glow in the dark, so it's not gonna show. It's not gonna show up with the lighting in here. It's not gonna show up with all the lights on here. But yeah, so we're gonna move on with Galla and move on to our last guy, Alfor, the Centurion. The naming convention aside, or actually, let me go and get the naming done for this guy. He's called Alfor, the Centurion, because I've been playing through Beyond Good and Evil, and he kind of reminds me of the guards in the town, who I originally thought were the Alpha Sentries. And they kind of like even pose the same way as the Alpha Sentries. And so Alfor Centurion, Alpha Sentry. Yeah. Clever naming, I know. But yeah, that's why he's posed this way too. He's got that kind of similar pose as the guards do, with their arms back, their chest puffs out, and the head sticking up. So granted, if I wanted to be 100% accurate, his head should be almost straight up. Unrealistically so, because good lord, I don't know how you can act that way. But yeah, so like I said, the one I wanted to talk about the most, because if we take this off, you can notice he is almost fully piece built, custom built. First time doing this. Really proud of how he turned out too. So yeah, pretty much just took a bunch of my pieces and smashed them together with some leg piece, with the Metru leg pieces, the Metru waist piece, and kind of eventually got something that worked. Alfor is a unique character in this case, as he is a silent and almost antagonistic force. He doesn't have much of a story, but he is a very defensive character. And Now, he doesn't travel with anyone, but whenever they run into him, he attacks everything. Rahi, Makuta, Matoran. It's almost like he has like no control over whether or not over his fighting spirit. But yeah. And also he's got some translucent pieces. Because I can't help myself with doing translucent stuff on these guys. Or at least translucent arms anyway. Got a fully translucent arm, except for the hand. And partly translucent legs. So yeah. The Hero Factory symbol in here is again a callback to the Alpha Century thing. I wanted to give him like a crest of some sort, and that's what I happen to have. I don't think Lego has anything else like that. That wasn't Hero Factory. Something like small like that could fit on him. But yeah, so that is my Toa squad, or my Matoran squad. So yeah, you got quite the group here. Quite the cast here for like just a little guy. And I do intend on making some more eventually. It comes down to having the time and the resources to do it. Right now I'm just kind of working on getting some more bodies. Actually, right now I'm working on getting some more limbs for him. No, hold up. Masks. Oh hell, it's all three of them actually. Now I think about it, the more I think about it, because they got this. They got Metal's mask here. So I haven't been able to do anything with it yet because I don't have a green Toa that's not UA, and I don't want to use. I forgot to put on his. Yeah, I forgot to mention Frax has a necklace, a chain necklace. Why? Yeah, I just thought it'd be kind of cool. But yeah, so I have this mask I gotta do something with. And then there's probably a few others. I gotta get heads. The heads are the biggest thing. Trying to get the old Metru and Mata heads are a pain in the butt to get. But yeah. So this is my six squad of six Matoran. Oh, that was yeah. Yeah, I'm fairly proud of how all these turned out. I mean, obviously you got the original one, the Matoran body. Those are fairly simple to do just because the body is basically pre-built itself. Everything is super easy to do. The biggest thing with them was getting the backpacks to work with the armor. Had to do a little bit of finagling with UA especially. There's an axle joint going in here behind this piece right here. You can actually see it goes like midway into the piece. It kind of sits behind in the back. So I had to modify the backpack slightly to get it to fit on her properly. But other than that, those two are pretty easy. As for the next three, the other three, the Kokorans and the Onokorans, I want to do something with the Robo-Rider bodies. I like suddenly had a memory of those bodies existed and thought, hey, they'd be good for making a Matoran out of. They'd be small, though granted they're not too much smaller than the Toa bodies. In fact, let me go ahead and get the second one of the short Toas here, Pohatu, and we'll put him right next to Alfor, who's the same height as the other two. You can see there is still a bit of a height difference, but not by much. And then if we get Kopaka, get him right next to. There we go. Of course. Awesome. Again, we'll just do them like right next to each other. You can tell there is a bit of a difference at that point, especially. Almost a whole head difference right there. But yeah. So yeah, that was that. Again, that's the Matoran. I do plan, like I said, I do plan on making more. I just need to find the right pieces, the right colors, and everything. I do want to eventually make some Gakor ones, but again, gotta find the right colored pieces for everything. And then of course, I wanted to go back into the construction of these guys. Alfor was probably one of the funnest one to build. I didn't intend to build a Matoran until I started working on him. Like, just wanting to build something, and it became a Matoran. And so yeah. With all that said, I'll see you guys later.